Hello and welcome to our final session of Hearts of Wulin Mystery of the Puzzle Sword, or Secrets of the Puzzle Sword. I can't remember what I titled it, but this is a hack of Hearts of Wulin with certain elements from Brindlewood Bay and Apocalypse Keys. And we have been on site with our investigators here. I have prepared the last couple of days watching Agatha Christie. So I am ready for made up revelations in the final scene. So we are going to get to playing. I'll briefly say, hey, there are 3 sessions before this that are probably worth watching or listening to if you haven't done that already. If you have, great. If not, hey, this is part of the Gauntlet Gaming Calendar. Wow. If you haven't yet listened to it, we just put out the best, biggest episode of the Gauntlet podcast, our favorite games of the year 2021. It includes the voices of all 5 hosts of the rotating hosts of the Gauntlet podcast, as well as a ton of members from the community, including Rich Rogers, throwing shade, which is always fun. So it's worth checking out. There's a ton of great games mentioned on there. So let's walk through our cast. Let's look at the NPC tab. Let's look at our characters here, and I'll briefly go through what we know about them. Our murder victim is Master Fawn. She is the head of the Verdant Sword Alliance. They retook this estate recently, though less recently than they've been saying. And her sort of background is tied up with all the weird things that have happened in the Verdant Sword Alliance and the other factions and things over the years. She was to retire, but had not indicated a successor. When Lord Yao arrived, Lord Yao, claiming to be a representative of imperial authority here to stop the ceremony, they went and talked, they argued, and they kind of stopped what was going on. And then in the middle of the night, Master Fawn was murdered. Our other cast of characters, many of them directly tied into the Verdant Sword Alliance. We have Xiaochun, who is the daughter of Master Fawn, who wants to be a historian, but was prevented from being a historian by both her predilections and her mother's declaration. We have Pine, they, them, who is a character who has some seniority within the Verdant Sword Alliance, but is not well liked, and is also a person who has cracked down on the unorthodox, has been kind of a inquisitor for that within the Alliance. On the other hand, we have Silver Nightfall, a character who pleasant and was a strong hero in his youth, but has certainly lost some of that edge and is regarded with less respect these days, but is also tied to what happened in our previous mystery, the one of the Gao Botong, who himself possessed unorthodox techniques, apparently was in contact with Silver Nightfall and had been trained by Silver Nightfall. Next, we have the 2 E's. I'm going to skip over the person in the middle for a moment. Yi Feng is a younger person, high up in the authority of the Verdant Sword Alliance, who has bold new ideas that is very clearly have been kind of turned away over time, and is certainly pushing for changes and for leadership. On the other hand, his father, Yi Rong, is certainly at odds with him, and he is clearly, there was a mention made earlier that perhaps he was pushing for leadership as a means of getting something else, like maybe he was using it as a chip for something, but that was never kind of fully declared. He notably was present at another interaction we'll come back to in a second. Our final sort of person who is ambitious and angling for leadership in the absence of Master Fan is Peony Knight, who seems to have a lot of people on her side and is an it girl here amongst the Verdant Sword Alliance. A couple other people from the Verdant Sword Alliance that you crossed paths with. Grave of Saints, you've only seen in passing, but you haven't really interacted with him. So he's not really a suspect, not a serious suspect at this point, because, you know, he hasn't been on screen that much. But Little Plum clearly doesn't have respect for Silver Nightfall, caught caught Patrick investigating Silver Nightfall's rooms, was being sort of harassed by Peony Knight's coterie. Then, of the characters that we have that are here, but are not necessarily part of the Alliance, we have Cheng Rogang, who came here with the puzzle sword, has killed some people who've buried into puzzle swords, and gave you into your keeping her puzzle sword to keep it safe. Her friend and partner, First Orchid, was scouting the area, scouting the estate, and has gone missing. We still don't know where she is at. We also have Undaunted Zedong, our drunken master, who is on site. Songbird Yun, who clearly came here to possibly discuss some things about the puzzle sword with Master Fan, and didn't want to speak about it in front of our sort of wild man E. Wrong. And then there's the delightful Sun Yang, who has two things going for him. One, he's in here over his head, coming to demand some position within the Verdant Sword Alliance. And two, he has fallen in love with what is apparently a maidservant here by the name of Cricket, who is clearly not Cricket, who is very clearly, at this point, you've established Fi De Yan's daughter. And there's some question about what their ties might be to the imperial household. And it's very clear that Pine knows who she is and is trying to keep her away from other people. And it's also suspected that Lord Yao, that's part of why he is here, is to find her. And then there's the weird guy with the hawk, who you saw briefly. So those are our NPCs. A couple of them we can put off to the sideboard for the moment. But our clues are: one, we found a copy of Song Da's statement about the House of Sun incident, that it had been thumbed through, that somebody had gotten it for them when they probably shouldn't have. Number two was the servant in disguise, Cricket, and Master Pine telling her to leave. Number three, the counterfeit puzzle sword that you found. Number four, evidence on site of excavation, digging, or searching. People have been doing it in sort of hidden off portions of the estate. Number five, papers hidden in that puzzle sword scabbard, which seem to suggest that there is a lost imperial line connected to the Greenleaf Society, which, by your reading, connects it to Cricket. Number six, a hidden squatter encampment. Someone has been hiding here on the estate grounds for at least a couple of weeks. And finally, that note from Guao Botong thanking Silver Nightfall for training in assistance that was sent just before the tournament. Have I hit the details? Okay. So let me check and see, did anybody get an advance last time? Okay. Then what I would like to do is give each of you a chance to call a scene, investigation or interaction with NPC, or to follow up to get some details to whatever you want to do to orient yourself. And then I would like to bring the group together.
I did actually get an advance last time.
Oh, okay.
And
What
it's
do
a
you
start of
intend?
session.
I start a session move.
Yes, I got Face to Fate.
Oh,
Start of session, roll 2d6 without any element on a 6 minus mark XP, and the GM gains a soft move to use from Fate to use later on. On a hit, write down the roll result at any time during the session. You may swap this roll result with any result belonging to you or your allies. You or your ally then adds the element and resolves the roll as usual. The swapped out roll goes away, and no one marks XP for it. If the roll has not been swapped by the end of the session, it goes away.
let's have you make that roll.
Yes. Fish rollers, sorry. Okay. Let's have it be a good one. It's an 8.
It's an 8. That's not bad.
Not bad.
Certainly makes up for a bad roll. Able to flip flop that out. Let us start with Blue Mountain Scholar. What do you want to do? What scene do you want to call? Who do you want to talk with? What do we want to see?
I think, if I remember correctly, that Songbird said that they would meet me at the pavilion to talk about the puzzle swords. Afterwards. And even though I understand that he holds some grudge towards me because my uncle did not take the thing to go look for his brother when he came to, still will go to see him because I do need to see him. And I will say that essentially I go as Blue Mountain Scholar, and I have the map with me, and you can see that he's marked off spots that he has already checked for First Orchid.
Excellent. So we don't have any outstanding hard moves hanging in the air, nothing. So when you arrive, Songbird Yun is there and has not been murdered.
Oh, thank goodness.
And he will see you. He looks around furtively.
Say, come on, let's talk.
And he will kind of come over and sit. And he's definitely cautious and wary. What is your line of questioning here?
I think what I want to know, I think that I'd start with the sort of like offhanded mark that clearly the what is this society called? I know there's Greenleaf, but this is the many
Verdant Sword.
Verdant Sword. And I say, I know that the Verdant Swords doled the puzzle swords out to those clans that assisted them discreetly. Yours was one of them. Is that how your brother came to carry that sword?
Swords were not dealt out to many clans. They were dealt out to one clan, my family, in exchange for undertaking duties that the Verdant Sword Alliance did not wish to undertake. And they remained in my family for many years until circumstances changed and the Verdant Sword Alliance no longer saw us as useful. And the rights and privileges that we had once held for bearing these weapons went away. The protection that was given to us went away. And then the bearers of the swords started to vanish. I would get what my family is due from Master Fawn. That is what I came here for.
The swords held to assure that they would have to give that to you, what is due?
They were a marker of that bargain. But time has passed. This was in my grandfather's time that this bargain was struck.
And I stop there because I say, so these were given to your clan while it was still the Greenleaf Society?
It has always been the Verdant Sword. The Greenleaf Society held one of the seats of power within the Greater Verdant Sword Alliance.
What do you want out of this?
Well, I would like my brother's sword back, and I would like the head of the woman that killed him.
Hmm.
But if that is not in the cards, then I want my family restored to a position of honor.
Do you know what the puzzle swords hide?
Yes, yes, of course I do, he says, lying.
Okay. He goes, I think if you did, you would not be so anxious to be holding one at this particular moment in time.
Why don't you make a study roll here for me?
I will do that. Let's see here. Ooh. What the heck? I'll use my best skill. I'm standing here in the middle of this place.
Absolutely. You've got some shadows to put to use, so.
Never have enough of those. All right, so all I got to do is find the link again, and I will be there in a second. And
Here you go. I put it in the chat.
yeah, and put it in the thing too. Okay.
I did both.
I know, so did I. All right, here we go. I'm rolling 2d6. I'm going to add 3. So that gives me a 12.
So that gives you a bunch of hold.
Yeah.
So what would you like?
I think I'll take a clue.
Okay.
And then also, I think I'll ask who it is that's watching us.
Interesting. He will say, I would not say this in front of your compatriot. But The Verdant Sword Alliance has kept a sterling reputation for many years. And one might even suggest, if one were to have some knowledge of it, that it was a close, intimate, personal relationship between one of the senior people within the Bureau of Legends and Master Fawn that has kept those records as pristine as they are. There are only two people I can think of who would have that access and power. One is here, and the other is the clan leader, Indigo Judgment. But you would know about that, given that there are rumors that she suborned your own investigations in the past, Blue Mountain Scholar.
It works against me. It works for me.
And I think that you are being observed in this by, let's see, I'm actually going to do it this way. I'm going to roll a die.
Okay.
You are actually being observed in this by Silver Nightfall. I think like your glance turns and across the courtyard far away, you see Silver Nightfall watching this for a moment before he vanishes away. While he has not heard what you've said, he has certainly seen you and Yun together. Good?
Yep, that works.
All right. So you may put that clue in. Bao Shi.
Yes, indeed. Well, with all the things on the table, I think I'm going to go back to the beginning and see if I can trace some things.
Okay.
So I am returning to Master Fawn's quarters, not with the intent of checking the quarters, but trying to deduce where Master Fawn came from to get back to them.
Excellent.
So trying to follow that path back.
Let us have you make a roll for me.
Alrighty. Study, is that what I'm doing?
Yeah.
All right. I think I'm probably using, I mean, this is calculation. This is right up my alley, so this will probably be my medal. Ugh, I've got lots of things checked, and I try and avoid that usually.
But it's a study roll, so you can always use your shadow.
Ooh, that's true. Well, that gives me a 9. So I think I am going to hit one of my shadows.
Okay. Do you have a bond to burn? No, you do not.
I am bondless at the moment.
Footloose and fancy free. What shadow are you invoking? What are we going to see here as you are? I mean, I imagine we see you with your glass and you're looking and moving around and checking, seeing the physical evidence.
I think I'm go.
I have a bond with Bao
Oh,
Shi.
do you?
Yeah. So all I have to do is have a thing that I would have left with you that would help you out at that moment. So I think Now, what is it that you're doing exactly? You're trying to figure out where she is?
Where she came from. We know that she didn't die there
Okay.
or didn't get stabbed there.
And I have gone to some trouble to give you a copy of this map,
Ooh, okay.
if that makes any sense, along with some annotations about like things that aren't on the map, like openings and walls and things like that.
Excellent. All right. So that takes me up to a 10. And I still think I'm going to spend a shadow to get it up to a 12 plus.
You have 3 hold then.
Yes. And I'm crossing off my mentor shadow. And perhaps we'll come back to by
Sure.
reading out the shadow.
Absolutely.
So
your question is where she came from.
correct.
And then you would like a clue?
I would like a clue with 2 of them.
So there is a montage of you. You've got this little magnifying glass that you kind of can flick out. I was just watching Under the Power. It's a wuxia detective series on Amazon Prime, and she has this little, she throws out this little glass and checks things through it. It's very cool. So I imagine we see you moving through. You're turn the map. You're like, okay, this is this, da da da, and you will find yourself back at the grand meeting room. This is where Lord Yao and Master Fan and the others kind of retreated back to have the meeting. It's a meeting hall, and it's where you saw Lord Yao like come out. You saw him yell at her and slam the door shut.
Mm-hmm.
And you will look around and you will see some attention has been paid to, like, there's a cushion that is clearly missing, and someone has cleaned up some blood here.
Mm.
And it's very clear that this is where she was. She was in a meeting with somebody when this occurred. Because you know that, well, you know her path, that she went and clearly, you know, crossed paths with another person to give them the sword. But this is it, and I think that you will find that there is a broken sliver of jade here.
Mm. Okay.
And that is the clue, is this broken sliver of jade that indicates, you know, maybe it ties to someone, maybe it was damaged in a fight, maybe it was a clue left by her, but it's unusual and kind of buried in the fibers of the mat that's on the floor. And I think we see that scene of you like lifting it up and putting it up, and we can see that it clearly comes from some sort of worked object.
Giving it
Maybe,
the careful inspection.
Yeah. Is it from a comb? Is it from a badge? It's unclear to you at this point, but possibilities are interesting.
Okay.
Does that seem like a fair answer and clue?
Yes, I think so. And with my point that I have left over, I'm going to declare something.
So you asked a clue, and which I gave
Is
you.
declare
and then,
2?
But so you also, so it was 2 for the clue and 1 for me to tell you where she came from.
Oh, I see. Alrighty.
Yeah. But you know what? I'm feeling generous. So what is your declaration?
Well, I think as I'm looking at it, I hear something and look over, and I can see motion as someone is leaving out of here. I see the shadow of someone heading away.
Absolutely. They are outside on the rail outside the window, and they lighten us away with a skill at lightness that is extraordinary.
Cool.
Speaking of extraordinary skill at lightness, let us come to Songda.
I'm sure you mean nearly extraordinary skill at lightness, because of course we've seen what extraordinary skill looks like.
Yes, exactly. For sure.
Yeah, totally, of course. I think I want to go try talking to Xiaochun again. It's gone so well every time. It can't be anything but illuminating.
So you will find, Xiaochun, the matters have been settled with the people downstairs. By the time that Little Plum had taken you down to kind of get a talking to, that meeting had broken up, and very clear that she didn't want to drag you around the estate just to satisfy her own like being irritated with you, and so she let you go with a stern like talking to. But we will see you. You will find Xiaochun in clearly what is her mother's study, with her scrolls and books and so on. You ask servants, and eventually they'll direct you that way, maybe a little reluctantly. But you will see that she is reading through some documents when you come in.
Xiaochun, I've been looking everywhere for you.
Master Da. And she rolls up what she's looking at, kind of puts it off to the side. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine, but really, I should be asking how you're doing. Such disturbing events here in your own home.
I am very sad, both for the loss of my mother and for the strain and disruption this puts on our household.
Of course, and there must be so many things for you to consider and take care of now that, well, your mother's seat is empty.
I was never given charge of anything while she was alive, and I very much doubt that the situation would change now that she has passed on.
It's a shame when one does not connect so closely with the older generations. But I suppose, to look at the lighter and more fortunate side of things, now there's no one to speak against you following whatever dreams you might have had.
And she pauses. She's not dumb. And she says, yes, after a suitable period of mourning, I may consider how I can best use my skills for the house. And I hope that will turn out to be allowing me to pursue my interests in history.
Of course. And if there's anything I could do to help you along that path, any word that I could give, I would be glad to give it, even if it would pale in comparison to the deep connections that your family obviously has with the Bureau.
That would be that. Yes, please. Would you like to ask a question without rolling? You get one of those free per scene.
Yeah, I forget about that one. What does she know about her family's connection to the Bureau?
so she will talk about her mother, talk about, trying to kind of show you that she's a dutiful daughter and that she is mourning. She will talk about daughter, but of course she kind of drifts into talking about how her mother dissuaded her from joining the historians despite her own close ties to them, that she knows that her mother is close to someone in a senior position. Despite that, she always dissuaded me. I don't know who she knew, but if she wanted records, she could get them.
I had noticed that your mother had a certain pull with the records of the Bureau. I didn't want to say anything out of line, but it did surprise me, some of the more recent records that you had managed to acquire.
Now, do you want to do a study roll?
Yeah. Yes, I guess water awareness fits with this.
Absolutely.
Of course, you don't remember who I am. Why would you remember who I am? I only come to this.
I don't know who you
times
are.
a week. Nope. I don't want the. Yeah. That's me. Oh my lord. Oh, this is me again. Oh, finally. Okay, there we go.
Okay. Now I know who you are. Hello.
Now that you've introduced yourself 3 times. It's a 10.
And what did you roll with?
Water.
Okay. So that takes you to a 12. So you have 3 hold.
Oh, it was a 10 with the.
With the
water.
okay. So you've got 2 hold then, unless you want to burn a shadow.
Do you think I want to burn a shadow for that?
Which one?
Something about family feels appropriate here.
Okay.
I will try and figure that out as we're going
Sure.
through this.
It makes sense that maybe we see some flashes of your own family when you hear her talking about that. So you have 3 hold. Do you want to ask your question first, or do you want your clue first?
I want a clue first.
I have a question for you, and this will determine the detail here. It's the first time you've seen Xiaochun in the evening. You've talked with her briefly. You've always had documents there. This is the first time you've kind of sat with her and listened to her and are talking with her and so on. And she's talking about this, and she talks about the fact that, there's within the household, there are so many who have the natural bloodlines, and, she is adopted, her mother took her in, blah, 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 blah. Here is my question for you, Patrick. Who does she look like? Sister Lushan or Indigo Judgment?
Ooh, there's our personal. think it's indigo judgment. I think
It's
sitting in the better light and considering her longer, there's this like tone to her skin. I thought it was just paleness, but there's this icy tone.
you kind of ask and you know, about her makeup. Say, how my mother prepares my makeup for me. I have an unseemly pallor that has come from some illness growing up. And you realize that this is Indigo Judgment's child. And he has no children with his spouse, who is a very highly placed historian herself.
Mm.
And then you have a question or a declaration.
I think I'm going to declare something.
Okay.
This may or may not go anywhere.
Sure.
Yeah, computer. So I think like as we're sort of finishing up and she's realizing that she has more duties to attend to, getting ready for the funeral and all of the everything. Sungda remembers, I have these the writings that you had given me. And we make sort of an awkward exchange because she's already said she's leaving, but she hasn't like had a chance. She's been wanting to ask me what I thought about them, so there's some like fumbling and stuttering back and forth. And in that she ends up dropping a couple of pages out of an inside pocket as she's leaving. And I find where she's been starting on like another fanfic version / fic version of like some of the stuff from the martial arts tournament.
Uh-huh.
And I find like the sort of final draft very flowery and in her hand and full of all these like side stories and emotional moments and all this. But I also find like a mid draft and like a first draft where she hasn't actually changed anything. It's just my report copied out exactly in my handwriting exactly. Where like by the end of this report, I can't tell the difference between her brushstrokes and mine.
Interesting. She's a master mimic in her own way, and it's a little disturbing because you've had some instances of mimicry before that you were not enamored with.
Mm-hmm.
Let us bring the three of you together. Unless you want to, there's that had been the plan. Tyler, did you want to do?
I was kind of wanting to cascade the person moving to my demon catcher move to follow them.
Oh, okay. Well, then let's do another once around is what
Okay.
we'll do then. Let's actually do this. Let's take our break here. Let's take just 5. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll start again with Sherry, and then we'll come back to your that, and we'll get a chance to use your demon catcher move. Sound good? Okay. Let us come back to Blue Mountain Scholar,
Right.
or Lost Song Shanai. What else do you want to look into? Who do you want to talk to?
I want to find First Orchid. I just like, I have water. I have all the stuff. I mean, if she's been held away, she's going to be thirsty. She might be hurt. Again, I think that for Lost Song Janai, her memory of her uncle's upset at losing people during these things, essentially because people were distracted by other things, that it's always something that is very much that he has pressed upon her, that it is important that you follow up on those people who are signifiers of there being trouble, because you might be able to save them.
This is a study roll.
Okay. Let's see here. We do need to do comfort and support right after this, though. I do say,
Well, we'll do a group scene and we'll let you
yeah,
all,
exactly.
because it'll be an
something-
interlude scene, you'll all be able to say how you clear an element.
Okay, I will use Earth again, because this is focus and caution. I am trying to find her, so I'm adding 3 for a decent roll. Oh, of course I don't get one. So I will bump it with one of my shadows.
So take it up to a 7.
Mhm.
Okay. What shadow are you going to
I
mark
don't
in?
have a lot left, do I?
No.
I think one of the things that she has that La Janai remembers is one of the first times being with Blue Mountain Scholar when he had to do an investigation. And he set her to essentially lock the door behind him and not open it until he came back with the right signal. And that was the important thing that she had to do. And when she was in there, she heard like someone crying out in the hallway, and she went out to help, and there was no one there. And so she went looking to find the person that was crying. And she walked in on probably one of the most horrific scenes that she's ever seen of like essentially a family chopped apart. And there was that whole thing of her sort of understanding like why her,
Sorry, background music is clicking in.
yeah, isn't it though? Okay. And her understanding why that had been made her duty was like to protect her, and she was trying to move backwards to get there, and her uncle came in and saw her and like picked her up and essentially carried her back into the room and slammed it shut and locked her in there. Then at that thing, and that like her standing there and shaking because she knew that that she had screwed up. And so in some ways this is sort of a thing of that sort of, it could be horrible what she's going to find, but this time it's her duty to go looking. If that has anything to sort of tension to that.
So you have 2 choices.
Yes.
You can ask a question, make a declaration, essentially get 1 hold, or you can get 2 hold if you do it with a cost.
I think I'll go with the 1 success.
Okay. Do you want to declare, or do you want to ask me a question?
I think think that I'll declare that I find First Orchid.
Okay.
And it's in one of these excavations. Like she's fallen down there, if that makes any sense.
You will find that there are clearly some hidden passages. And in fact, like a kind of a cistern that has been hidden back there, like a well. Bless you. And like someone has very clearly put the bricks back in place. But to kind of pull them, okay, they had that look of a recent thing, and why were they put back like this? You pull them out, and you will look down, and you will, see in a cistern with not a huge amount of water, a shallow amount of water. You will see your quarry there.
First
You will
Orchid.
see First Orchid there,
Still alive?
because you didn't ask for a cost. Yes.
And yes, I'm like, here, I'll be down shortly. All right.
She's like, I when I fell, I couldn't, my ankle, it's gotten much worse.
And I've got lots of rope, no problem.
She goes, you should probably get someone younger.
I'm offended, young lady.
So you can get her out.
Okay.
And she says, someone pushed me.
And essentially, we'll both look, because it's her anger too. But I know that she's cold and she wants to go. But
Yeah, she's like,
yeah.
she said,
Yeah.
but you can see her leg is in very bad shape.
Okay, I will get her back. I will carry her.
You're surprisingly strong.
Yeah. I am Blue Mountain Scholar.
I see why they call you that, I guess.
Yes.
I think.
Mountain, that's the word.
Bao Shi, you wish to pursue this figure, correct?
Yes.
Let's have you roll that move.
Okay. I think that I'm going to go ahead and describe out a little of that shadow as I'm doing this. So I think that being no master of likeness myself, I think that we see me kind of pull up, put the jade shard in my pocket and begin moving towards the window, but knowing there's no way I could just leap out of it, I start moving like to find an alternate way to get there. And as we do, we start getting interspersed. And this may explain a little of why Lost Song and I are friends, because we begin to see Blue Mountain Scholar. We get the idea of, it's a young me, probably in my ancestral home and all that. Is as he's beginning to talk, it's not important to be to be the fastest or the strongest. It is important to be the smartest. And we see me running down the stairs to getting out there. And it is using your environment, knowing, observing as I move through, and I like, heading out to the garden. I pick up like a cloak to throw over me that's darker than my usual clothes, and like there's a hoe sitting there, so I like grab it and kind of like pop it off so that there's just the stick as I begin moving, hustling through, and then as we see Blue Mountain Scholar kind of patting me on the head and going, there may be a future for you, but you've got to be more serious about it all. And I look at him and say, is that what you do? And there's this kind of look on his face. Yes. As I get heading across
Perfect.
the garden.
So what do you want to roll this with?
I think it's going to be, it's calculation. It's trying to be at the place that they're going rather than like having the alacrity to keep up and like chase them down. So
Sure.
I think I'm going with my metal.
Roll with your metal.
All right. Oof, I got a 3, but I'm going to trade out my fates there. So that'll be an 8 that then gets +2, which goes to a 10.
And on a hit, they have no sense of your presence before you appear. You're going to take +1 forward against them.
Mhm.
You can also choose one, change the environment, remove sense of person, substitute an item, have an independent escape.
Can I wait until you kind of describe the getting to them or whatever? Is that possible?
Absolutely. Now, here is the question. Did you have a particular person in mind?
I didn't have a particular individual. I had a thought that this might be someone who she gave the sword to. I just don't know who that might have been. Now, that may not be the case. And, you know, obviously, I'm not solving the crime, so it isn't necessarily the killer for sure.
I think that you will track this figure back into those woods that are kind of at the back of this thing. And you will see this person finally kind of stop lightnessing there. And you will see this guy dressed with a kind of a furred cloak and a blade. The figure has been described to you by, I believe, by Blue Mountain Scholar before. And you see him kind of looking around, and you see him kind of lightnesses up into a tree where he's clearly kind of got a little bit of a bedroll and stuff. And you see him starting to kind of go through a little bag here.
Okay. Ideally, I'm wanting to substitute, remove something from them. Their sword, if that's the case, if they have one.
Absolutely.
But if I cannot get to them,
no, you can essentially you can appear up in the tree with their sword in your hands. There is that moment when he's sitting there kind of looking through a bag, and he looks up, and you are seated on a bough across from him. And you see him kind of reach down, and then he looks and he sees his sword there across your legs.
looking for something.
I was, but I see it's there.
I am Bao Shi, and you are?
Not entirely certain I want to give my name to a famous detective.
At this point, it's really the least of things, I suppose. Looking down at the sword, what it look like?
It is fairly solid but common. Like it's not a fancy sword at all.
Okay.
And he says, I'm called Wolf. Let's leave it at that.
I imagine that you may mind, but I feel inclined to ask, why are you skulking about?
You put me in a difficult position here, Detective.
I find that is the best for getting answers.
See. Well, you're not an officer of the law per se.
Absolutely not.
You're a hunter after things. You hunt after knowledge and secrets and so on.
True.
I am not unlike you.
All right.
I hunt after treasures.
I see.
And I know that there is treasure here in the House of Endless Leaves.
Any particular treasure?
I'm not a particular man. I'll take gold. I'll take silver. I'll take jewels. I'll take whatever you have.
That seems more like a common thief.
Rude. Would a common thief have a piece of information that you might wish, Detective? Maybe overheard on the night of the murder?
I think for reasons of practicality, I'll say no, of course not.
Fair enough. What say you that we strike a bargain? I will tell you something that may be of interest to you in your investigations. And then perhaps you don't have to give me my sword back. You can certainly leave it when you go somewhere, since we don't know each other very well.
I think that seems fair enough.
I know this because I was skulking about. I overheard something of the conversation between Master Fawn and that Imperial.
Ah, what did you hear, my friend?
I heard Master Fawn speak in a way that clearly indicated that she had been expecting Lord Yao's arrival. Something along the lines of, surprised it took you this long? And then she said that Lord Yao would take her demands back to his master.
Oh,
It was very clear that this was a gambit, a play.
and I take it he was not pleased.
He did not seem pleased. But it was at that point that I needed to take my leave.
I understand. Well, I think in fairness, I appreciate your help, and I see no particular reason to discuss with anyone your search for knowledge.
Tell me,
Mhm.
who is that pretty girl amongst your team?
Do you mean Lawson?
I don't know her name. She
I'll
was up on the
describe her.
rooftop. She looked beautiful in the moonlight.
Oh, yes, that definitely would be her.
La Songjianai. Interesting. Well, I appreciate the information.
I will leave your sword against the tree, and if by chance in your searching for knowledge you run across any unusual swords, I will pay quite handsomely for them.
What do you mean by unusual?
I will describe to him kind of the way the puzzle swords, because they kind of move, don't they? They have a,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll go through just a quick description of that.
Ah, that angry woman has one.
Yes. I wouldn't suggest trying to get that one. But who
No,
knows
no,
where
no,
others, yes.
no. You think you mistake me. One of the Verdant Sword Alliance.
Oh, really?
Yes. I don't know her name. I try to stay away from those kinds of entanglements.
I'll quickly describe Peony Knight.
Oh, no, not her.
Can I get a description out of him?
He describes vaguely Little Plum.
Oh. Oh, okay.
So let us come to Song Da.
Hello.
What is it that you want to do?
I suppose the other point that I'm sort of curious about is Lord Yao, who was unkindly dismissive of me earlier, but he was very busy, I'm sure.
Right.
But if I'm going to present a full report, in-depth investigation into what's going on here, I obviously need to know more about what he's doing.
Do you wish to shadow him or do you wish to speak with him?
Let's shadow him a little bit.
All right.
The observational historian, not interfering with the experiment, just seeing how it naturally plays out.
Perfect. Why don't you make a roll for me? What do you want to roll this study roll with?
I think it has to be fire because it's depending on his lightness, it's depending on speed and grace. Oh wow, geez, that's boxcar, so that's 14.
So without going any further, you're already at 3 hold. Take a look at the study move. Tell me what you want to do.
Is he genuinely here on Imperial business, or is he here on something his own and he's using his Imperial station as an excuse?
I think that this requires you to kind of slide in and look at some of the papers and documents and things that he has and kind of go through, and you will find no imperial writ. There's no letter from the emperor. There's no sign, the kind of thing that he ought to have. What he has is his own imperial seal, because he serves in an office, and he's been throwing that around as if he was sent here by the emperor, but that is clearly not the case.
Who is he?
So you spent 1 hold on a question.
Yep.
So you get 2 hold left. So you could do a clue. You can ask a question. You can make a declaration. Just want to start before I want to get into the the what we're doing at the spends here.
Yeah. It's so hard. I have 1,000 questions, but also Clue might answer some questions or give something good for the mystery. I don't know. Well, we have limited time. I should go for the Clue. What is something relevant to the situation that I find out about him, or around him, or near him, or in spite of him, or on top of him, under his feet?
Let's see here. I think that you will find a fan that has been hidden away, and there's a piece of paper wrapped with it. And when you open it up, there is a kind of a color there, but then there is a sketch of a very young woman's face. And you will see then on the papers that are wrapped around it, someone has clearly, and you yourself, historians know that there are artisans that can do this. Someone has very clearly gotten a number of artisans to attempt to draw what that young woman's face would look like grown up.
Oh.
And at least one of them bears a striking resemblance to that servant girl Cricket. Now, this is something that you suspected before, but this is confirmatory evidence, a confirmatory clue. Does that seem fair?
Yeah. And it occurred to me I do have my Smiling Proud Wanderer move.
Yes, you still have another question.
So the question I was going to ask, I still want to ask, is who is he meeting with or communicating with in secret, like that he doesn't want other people to know about?
Present here, he is currently in communication with Peony Knight. There are some exchanges of letters, and it's very clear that Lord Yao has promised, if she assists him in what she's doing, and in particular in locating the puzzle swords, that he will ensure that she takes leadership of the Verdant Sword Alliance. As a neutral party, he can do that.
And who was that again?
That is Peony Knight,
Peony Knight.
the mean girl.
Who lost some tonight despises.
Cool.
Does that seem like fair information?
Yeah, I like that.
Okay. Then let us bring the three of you together now, shall we? You're muted, Sherry.
Unmuted.
So I imagine that like we're on an upper veranda of one of these buildings, probably, you know, in the evening, but far enough away that you've got a good view of the estate and all of that. But you have a table here, and there's a servant who has brought tea, but you're out of earshot and eye shot of anyone, and you're close enough to the roof that you can be aware if anyone were to try to come over the roofs to listen in. It is a carefully and calculatedly chosen spot. and we will see the three of you. Blue Mountain Scholar, are you Blue Mountain Scholar?
Yes.
Okay. Just checking that. Okay. And Steen.
Well, the plot seems to have thickened quite a bit. I'm guessing that I have delivered what information I have. I think we can take that as read.
Mhm.
Have you done this? Have you all done the same?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Sangda? Oh, sorry.
Yeah. I was just considering. Songda doesn't have a great poker face, so I think you had to drag it out, but you did drag out the thing about Xiaochun and Indigo Judgment.
But it makes sense. All right.
Little Plum having one of these swords is...
One is no big deal. The problem comes in having the set.
Well,
But what is the point of having the set?
Well, one assumes that once you have the set, you can unlock something, correct?
they certainly seem to come together for some reason, and we have been led to believe that it will cause some destruction to the verdant leaf. However, I would say that if she has one, the real question is where she got it. We know of one that is missing from a corpse.
I had the impression that it was given to someone as opposed to taken.
That was from the clues and the questions you asked before. You had determined that Master Fawn had handed the sword off to someone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
The question is that the sword that she gave, and why would she give it to Little Plum?
Perhaps she trusted Little Plum? At least more than anyone else who might have come into her room in that few moments after she had been struck a mortal blow.
Or maybe she just saw that Little Plum's secret was going to come unraveled no matter what.
So you think that this is a secret about Little Plum? Or about Cricket?
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. So different people.
If-
And she sort of stops and goes, so there's a decent chance that what the puzzle swords would do would lead to something that would be proof of another Imperial line. The reason that that would want to be hidden is because note that when PbtA Young was killed, those people who collaborated in his death did quite well for themselves, which might suggest that they had some backing, some power, maybe power that went all the way up to the throne. And the
True.
line, that sort of thing.
We are aware that the swords were given out to those who did sort of the dirty work.
As, well, there would be two reasons for that. Could be two reasons for that. One of them is that they had to assure them that that they would do well by that clan that did that hard work for them, that dirty work for them, that they held power, though they may not have known what that power was. But with that set of blades, that would give them some blackmail or some power over the group or society. That, or they went, well, if these people get killed, that just sort of scatters those blades.
Yes.
Because inherently the blades are dangerous.
If we follow the idea that the puzzles together open something else rather than turn into something of its own, and they were given from the Verdant Sword Alliance back before everything fell apart, would it make sense that what they open is probably here?
Absolutely. That's why everything is convened here. It was like a threat, wasn't it?
And they came and reopened the house when they started moving to return.
And as much as anything, maybe to pull Chengrogan here, because she had collected a number of them.
Perhaps.
Specifically or generally, you know,
Mhm.
to
Exactly.
bring her or just anyone who had been collecting them.
I would venture to say that I'm not entirely sure it is purely the lineage of Little Cricket. However, that the swords may unveil, simply because I think that knowledge is already out there. Lord Yao seemed well aware that the lineage existed and had a pretty good representation, you say. So
Exactly, which is why the danger of the blades is actually revealing the proof that this was Imperial line and that the death of Feidian, I can't say his name anymore.
Fabian.
Feidian, the death of Feidian had at its source a request from the throne. It would implicate the Imperial line that sits on the throne, or it could be used to do that. It also lends more credence to any claim that might be made.
If Yao is here on any sort of order from above, the evidence of it has been strictly eradicated. There are no written orders. He has no official jurisdiction or writ to come here. So if he's acting on his own, it's at a whisper suggestion.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it would not implicate the throne, or it would be less of an implication to the throne. It might be, at this point, we're just making things up. We do not know why.
yeah, so if it is his own business, he may wish a proper claimant to the throne to stake his own power to.
So you think that this has something to do with a claim to the throne as opposed to an implication that the throne killed a great hero of the wuxia?
At this point, it is mostly speculation.
Right.
If people had been obfuscating and shuffling the lines of succession in the imperial houses, in maybe even some of the greater societies, well, that would be something to cover up, but that would be something to kill for.
As we know, it would take the Bureau to assist with that, wouldn't it?
And the Bureau's hands are not entirely unstained in this matter.
I think we need to find out what Little Plum knows.
All right.
She certainly seems the wild card in this.
Well,
I think we need
at
to
least she's
find
been in
out if
communication with Master Fawn, yeah.
I think we need to find out if anyone managed to successfully dig up a lock.
There was some squatter that was here.
I think that his goals are less elevated. If it is the same I'm thinking of.
He might have seen something.
Well, as I mentioned, he did see a few things.
All right. Well,
If it is the same person, or we have another skulking about, this has been quite complex. It would be nice if we knew how many swords there were.
I've seen the almost put together one, the one with the most numbers of it. How many more pieces would I guess it would take? To
In
finish off?
addition to what Cheng Rogong's sword is,
Mhm.
one.
Ah,
There is only one more sword left to be added to the blade that Cheng Rogong gave you.
So the fake is very much a red herring.
mhm.
So the
It's
one
presumably a fake of the one that was here at the estate.
except it didn't fit in the scabbard.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, I suggest we eat something, have a little something to drink, and I suppose I wouldn't mind having a little chat with Cheng Rogong. And if you could check with Little Plum, and would like to not circle around Cricket too much. Her being kept away with Sun and Undaunted is probably for the best. A little bit more outside of the circle of things.
Well, at the very least, she does have a protector here on the premises. Our little friend is quite fond of her.
Exactly. Which is probably hilarious enough that people would think that that was all a funny joke and would not notice
Who's
her
that?
so much.
Son, that is I'll reach down and pick up one of the nibbly bits. Oh, these are very tasty. It's a shame Iron Lotus isn't here. He's developed quite the sweet tooth of late.
Yeah, that's right. Sort of stop, then I shake my head. So many mysteries.
So we have a couple of approaches that we can do with this. We can go and do those scenes with those characters, or we can kind of go to theorize, link up our clues with our facets and see what kind of story we can generate with that, and maybe that will lead into scenes with those characters. It's up to you all what you think you want to do.
Did we want to do a comfort and support in this?
Oh yeah, because it's an interlude, you will definitely get everybody can clear an element.
Thank you.
Can we get a bond?
If you wish to do a comfort and support roll, then you may also do that.
Okay.
I wouldn't mind doing one. Here we are, kind of fellowship and friendship. This feels like a moment where we're boosting each other.
Yep, I'm good with
What do you
that.
want to roll that with, Baoshi?
I think this is. I just cleared wood. I think it'll be wood. This is, growth of our group a little bit here and kind of bringing in Sangda.
Okay.
So yeah.
Let's have you roll.
All right. That's a 7.
7. So with the 7, Sangda, you may either clear an element, or you can give Baoshi a bond with you.
I'll give you a bond.
Thank you.
And then, Blue Mountain Scholar, how are you supporting?
I think that I probably will take out our maps and I will update them essentially. And I'll look at Baoshi's and I'll give him some shit for the symbol that he used on the map for what he found. So since he should know better, but yeah, and then I guess I'll roll water on that. It's so I'm rolling 2d6 and adding 1. That gives me a 10.
It gives you a 10. So who are you targeting?
That was Baoshi.
So Baoshi may clear an element or give you a bond with him.
I will give a bond.
Okay. And then Blue Mountain Scholar, because you rolled a 10 plus, you can clear an element or give Baoshi a bond with you.
I guess I will give him another bond with me.
Okay. And then what about you, Songda?
Oh, he froze.
There you go.
Yay.
Computers.
We can't hear you.
That was odd.
Yep.
It's your comforted support, dear.
Oh, I cut out in the middle of
Oh,
sharing.
I'm
Thanks.
oh,
yeah, yeah.
I didn't realize that. So yeah, are you comforting and supporting one of your compatriots?
Yeah. I think obviously Iron Lotus in their sadly not surprising flakiness at this point has left poor Baoshi in the lurch with no one to assist and support him in his investigations, and he needs that help to free up his mind to solve all of the deeper mysteries. I think I'm gonna go with wood too. Curiosity.
Let's have you roll.
It's a 10 total.
So Baoshi, you may clear an element or give Songda a bond with you.
I will give Song Da a bond with me.
And then Songda, you can clear an element or give Baoshi a bond with you.
I'll give you another bond.
All right, thank you.
So now, let us take 5. And then when we come back, I think it's best for us to start associating with facets and then start kind of using that as some frame to theorize and figure out the solution to our murder mystery.
Right.
So let's take 5 and then we'll come back.
All right.
So we have a number of mystery facets that kind of help us like look at what aspects of the mystery are kind of on the table. Of course, we started with like the big one of who the killer is, but that's kind of gotten shifted into the questions about the puzzle sort. We kind of shifted to that. The murder is still an issue, like who did this, so what we're going to do is we're going to go through and we've got those clues. Let's see, we've got, is that 13 clues? Am I correct on that? And let me see, 1, 2, 3,
I think it's 10, right?
I think 11.
11
1,
clues.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep,
So,
11.
Mm.
So 4 more than we need.
About song 2, 3, 4, and so let's start with Blue Mountain Scholar. You've got 2 facets on the table, or sorry, two clues on the table. We're going to start with you. You can also look and associate Iron Lotus's clues at this point if you want to. When we get towards the end, you may end up associating other people's clues. But let's start with what you've got. What do you want to start with?
Probably we'll start with one of my clues, which was the papers hidden in the puzzle sword scabbard. Suggest that there's a lost Imperial line that's connected to the Greenleaf Society. And I'll probably go, what is the true secret of the puzzle sword?
So the true secret of the puzzle sword, that important thing is that there is document hints, and as you've drawn up, has suggested that that's what's in wherever the puzzle sword opens. Okay. Bao Shi.
Game question, because I don't think I've played what this is based on. I don't really. What are we attaching facets for?
So what we're going to be doing is we're going through these clues. We're kind of attaching to a facets to see like what they're answering, like what are they giving us pieces of, and we can kind of reshape what the meaning of that is, but to help us kind of get a picture of where these clues fall in the larger context here.
Gotcha. So let's see. One of mine is a copy of Songda's statement about the House of Sun incident well thumbed through. That seems attached to the how does this connect to the fall of the Greenleaf Society?
Yeah, I think that really makes sense. Like it's clear that someone here has been studying that, maybe like that's important, and that past and that history is up, and that we can kind of see those pieces, and that we can see those threads running through the previous mysteries.
Mm-hmm.
Songda, what about you?
I'm actually going to start with one of Iron Lotus's.
Okay.
The evidence of excavation, digging, searching. I feel like that ties in with the true secret of the puzzle sword. That feels very much like someone looking for what it unlocks.
So very clearly there is a physical place or object or something that is hidden deep here, that's been hidden away, that some, like actually where it is probably been lost a little bit, and they're trying to find it. Sherry, let's come back to you.
Yeah, I think again, we're getting the thing of the Bureau being involved in kind of keeping things clean and clear and quiet. So I think this is again the fall of the Greenleaf Society.
So which clue then?
That would be the Verdant Sword Alliance has kept a suspiciously sterling rep.
And so we know that Master Fawn has been acting to do that, and that's someone at the senior position, either coercively or willingly, has been aiding in the making sure that a lot of this has gotten swept under the table. Back to you, Baoshi.
All right. My other is broken sliver of jade at the scene of the murder, a part of something larger. Can I ask, am I correct that jade is generally associated with the Imperial throne historically? Was that true?
Yeah, I think it's official symbols and things like that.
So I'm going to say, I think that's connected to why has the killer taken one of the puzzle swords? Either that or why did the authorities shut down the ceremony?
Who who are you thinking that it has? Well, where does that connect to? Where do you think that jade sliver?
I think it either connects to Cricket or to Lord Yao.
So you think either Cricket or Lord, it comes from one of their things?
Yeah.
Who do you think?
What do I think? I think Lord Yao.
So we'll put that out there as a hypothesis that we're going to set off to the side right now. But I think that's a great connection for that clue.
Okay.
So that's to the what is it? And in fact, we know that we thought that the killer had taken one of the puzzle swords, but in fact, we know that they didn't. We kind of actually turned that a little bit on its head.
Mhm.
We've still got questions there, though. Like, we know they didn't officially, but who knows about under the table.
Which one did we decide? 1 or 4?
I think with the authorities. Yeah, right. Actually, I think the authorities, especially with that, like that connects with if it's from Lord Yao's piece, then connects to the whole authorities coming in, and authorities, we take that in quotes. Let's come back to you, Songda.
Okay. This is a tenuous, fragile one.
Sure.
And in the world where we have too many clues, I'm okay with us moving past this.
Sure.
But I'm looking at Xiaochun has the same unnatural power as Indigo Judgment. And I was also looking back and thinking about the House of Sun and how there were some questions about Sung Yang's parentage as well, but he still ended up getting control over the house over his sister, who may have had a stronger claim. It feels like there's been some obfuscation of,
Or hostage children.
yeah, something in there of like slipping new bloodlines in or hiding old connections, or it feels like it's more than just the Imperial line.
Yeah, it certainly feels like Master Fawn has been manipulating with hostage children and has Xiaochun. I mean, besides her skill level, that might be another reason why not letting her go back to the History Bureau.
So I feel like that one might connect with why did the authorities shut down the ceremony? Like something about this hand washing. Maybe it would have like freed Master Fawn up from oaths or something like that. Would have freed her tongue.
Yeah, it does definitely connect to the whole thing about these hostage children and trading of children and so on. I think in the nice general sense there. Let's come back to you, Sherry.
Oh, let's look at another child who got a really bad bad deal out of this. The note from, oh wait, no, that's Sangda, so I can't do anything with that. So
I mean, go for it. I have
Okay.
more than anyone else, I think.
Yeah, we're gonna have some people taking up other people's, like, where they found the clues. It's not necessarily a possession thing, but
Okay. So the whole thing with Silver Nightfall, like setting Guo Botong up to go and start these dominoes falling, like he's definitely part of the chaos monkey stuff that's been going on. So I do want to say that this the thing is how does this connect to the fall of the Greenleaf Society? And I think that Silver Nightfall is playing that game, that he's trying to reveal some of the stuff that's been hidden in order to shake things up, maybe, and get himself a position.
it certainly echoes what we
So-
saw before. Is Guabotong and other people like shaking the trees, knowing that there's this chaos out there and shaking the trees,
That
and
there's this injustice that's gone
right.
unpaid for.
And certainly the Silver Nightfall is the closest to the center of that. So if he's been one kind of pulling some of the strings, or maybe indirectly pushing on some things, that makes sense. Let's come back to Bao Shi.
I don't think we haven't really connected the servant in disguise cricket, Master Pine told servant to leave, did we? That I see we have a facet associated, but
Yeah.
That was when Ray got the full like 3-point study and decided to shift one of the focuses. So it hasn't been connected in our official theorize, but there was a like suggested connection earlier.
What has been suggested is that Master Pine knows that cricket is like who cricket is, and he has been hiding that. And the servant disguise is cricket.
Okay. Should we go? I think I'm going to go ahead and do the connected on this.
Okay.
Of to go along with that, sort of off the idea that I think Master Pine wants to make sure the secret is kept. I think that he doesn't want the culmination of all this that maybe Master Fan was wanting. So I think that's why he's trying to keep the puzzle swords from getting found and put together.
It is less about protecting cricket and more about certain.
I'm sorry.
Are they? For them, it's less about protecting cricket as it is about keeping the secrets of the household safe.
Right.
Despite of everything that's gone on.
Right. Yeah. This is Master Pine. I was thinking for a moment of Silver, but this. Yeah. Okay. So yes. That's where I'm connecting it up.
Patrick, let's come back to Song Da.
I'm gonna go with the hidden squatter encampment.
Okay.
Someone's been hiding here for at least a couple of weeks. That feels connected to me to the excavation, digging, searching. So I want to suggest maybe First Orchid had actually been here for a while before she officially showed up with Chang Rogong.
Wait, what? Say that again. I missed it.
That First Orchid has been here secretly for a couple of weeks looking for the place that the swords would unlock before she publicly arrived with Chang Rogong a couple days ago.
And then was pushed into the cistern.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's scouting the place.
Yeah.
And so what do you want to call that connection?
Secret of the Puzzle Sword.
Yeah. So she may have more information, or more information be gleaned from what you've already set out, Sherry. There are 2 unlinked facets.
Really?
Yes. Do you want to
Okay.
link either one of those?
It's interesting. Okay, the secret compartment. Here's the thing is, there had to be some reason that Master Fawn did this. And that they called this because it's a pretty bold move and it was going to turn out badly. She had to know that for herself. She had all of the people kind of gathered around like wolves anyway. But I think that beautiful counterfeit puzzle sword was there, that had been manufactured as an assurance that there were puzzle swords that would keep that seal from being unlocked. When it was in a false thing, there was actually only one that they actually held, but the two was to make it look like they had more than they did. And that is what the significance of it is, that they had to resort to counterfeits to make it look like they still had control over the puzzle sword.
Like there was at least one that they had totally lost any track of, and so they were trying to keep it lost and hidden by making people think that they had more than they did.
Because the sellers have been out there. Ragong has gathered some that has changed over time. And Master Fawn is probably, now worried about what's going on. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So what connection did you put that to?
There's got the whole thing of the killer taking one of the puzzle swords, and I think that at this point we're like going, we don't think that it was the killer that took a puzzle sword, but a puzzle sword was, essentially there's a shuffle of puzzle swords is essentially going on.
Why did the killer want to take?
A puzzle sword, yeah. So was to assure the secret or to get into the secret.
Song Da, we have one more unlinked facet there. Do you want to connect that up, or are you good with where we're at?
So I think the sort of like important aspect of that clue would be that it could tie Peony Knight into something. But if we feel like we can streamline this by not including her, the other aspect of that clue is just like reinforcing some other things that we already knew.
Okay, yeah, I think probably better on that stage to do it that way. So let me see if I've got this kind of right, what your theory is. So we know that these puzzle swords were meant to unlock something on the grounds here. And when finally put together, they could unlock this, and that it would be proof about some kind of malfeasance against the Empire, or proof of a rival line for the Imperial throne. Like, it is there, it is proof. And that Master Fawn has been playing a dangerous game with that information and those things. And in particular, we know that Cricket is a living representation of that. She is a member of that. And we know that Master Fawn has been manipulating family lines, manipulating histories, across the board, doing those things in an effort to conduct this business.
So who of all of these, this group of power brokers does Chengro Gang look like to be one of the hostage children of? Because Chengro Gang wanted answers.
And that is a good question, which might go to a study role. But if I'm right, what you're saying is that Lord Yao came here to try and strike some kind of deal or some kind of bargain, probably on his own behest, maybe on the Imperial behest, but that kind of doesn't matter. He was here to manipulate things, and he got here and he found that Master Fawn was kind of already ready for him. She'd hidden away Cricket. She'd done these things. She'd had prepared, and Lord Yao in that meeting room, finally, like he hit his snapping point, and he struck down Master Fawn, and then had to get out of there quickly. But and that's because you all were outside. Remember that Lord Yao came out and shouted at her very loudly to draw everyone's attention that he had just been in the meeting. He was just leaving the meeting with her.
Mm-hmm.
He came down, said goodnight to all of you, and went back. But by the time he got back, she was already in another part of the area, and the sword was gone, just the scabbard. And so now he doesn't know where the sword is. And he's having to, quote, investigate this murder that is his murder.
And somewhere in there, Little Plum is given the sword, probably most likely given the sword by Master Fan, and told, you've got to hide this. You cannot say anything about this, or maybe even says Lord Yao, but at the very least says, or your life will be in horrible, horrible danger.
And she has kept quiet during this while this search has gone on.
Which would explain why she didn't come forward with the, oh my God, here it is.
Exactly.
And I've been sort of pondering on, like, what sort of proof there could be, because of course we don't have like forensics, we can't do DNA matching or whatever, but I feel like that jade sort of points to that, like jade seals or jade like pendants I've seen a lot as proof of family lineage passed down from parent to child sort of thing, that maybe that's what's hidden.
Yeah, and it makes sense that Lord Yao had an official seal. It was damaged in the melee. That fragment is what Bao Shi found. And we're going to have a real echo of that when the puzzle sword safe is finally opened.
We have a piece of proof probably brought with the baby, and perhaps the other evidence of manipulation of various bloodlines.
So who wants to roll for this? You're rolling with a +3. Bao Shi or?
Well, she has all we gave him tons of links of ties to us.
Can you use bonds in the theorize?
You cannot use bonds in the theorize.
It's just a roll.
It's a flat roll.
But you are the great detective. Surely the dice know that.
I'll do it.
Let us have you
This
roll.
This is always
Bao Shi.
the worst roll. we got like you're adding +3.
All right. Here we go. 12.
12. And that is the point at which Little Plum kind of comes out from the woodwork and comes to you and says, I have to give you this sword. They have searched everywhere. I have tried to hide it. And I know where the safe is. But so does Lord Yao. So we must act quickly and quietly.
Of course.
So what is the montage that we're going to see here of you? Clearly Lord Yao has his people out and about looking, which probably includes Peony Knight's people. It's a little more active even after dark here. So what is it that we see there, Blue Mountain Scholar? Like what's the first part to get down to this place?
I think that one of the things that you see is Blue Mountain Scholar has stopped and talked to Undaunted Zedong. Undaunted Zedong. and says, just a little distraction if it becomes necessary. And essentially
Gets serious for a second and says, she says, are you going to be okay?
yes.
I will take you at your word. And
give
then
my-
she's gone, and you can start hearing the drinking songs loud begin on the grounds of the place.
All right. Yeah, and I like it when like you can see the flames starting to go up, because also tossing the wine into the flames. So there's like lighting effects too. So rude.
And Bao Shi, where is, like, what is the secret of the path down to this place?
I think that there is going out into the garden, and as you are moving through the garden area, there's like one of those kind of like abutted faced walls where there is that bit of space behind it, but unless you're there to look, you can't see. So you move behind it, and then that leads to a stairway that circles back underneath the main structure.
And we'll see the four of you, will include Plum going with you, heading down into this place, going down, the lights. And now we see a classic, Shaw Brothers sound stage as you go into the cavern down there and make your way. And there is almost kind of a waterfall there that you pull a lever, and the waterfall kind of opens up, and you will see this great vault door there. Patrick, tell me what that looks like. You've got this almost completed puzzle sword and the last sword, and then the keyhole. So what do we see happen? Give me the description of that on screen.
Oh, do we have Shang Rogong's sword?
Yeah, she gave it to you to your keeping.
Gotcha.
You have all the pieces.
I think it's probably got to be like if we're multiple parties racing for the same secret, there's got to be a dramatic clash that happens as we're trying to like piece together the last bits of the puzzle. So maybe like
So
Yao
what is it?
arrives with Peony Knight.
Yeah. So you're getting this last sword. You've got it out. Swords are not really your thing, but you've got this last little bit, and you're like looking at it, getting the puzzle thing. You're seeing that there, and that is when you will hear that shout from behind you, and you'll see coming down the stairs. You will see Lord Yao, and he has with him Peony Knight. And he has with him Grave of Saints, just because we need another cool named character. And then he has some of his Imperial folks with him. And he says, as he kind of moves down, he's got his blade out and his Imperial metal fan. And he will say, I will take those blades, historian.
Oh, of course, once the truth of history is revealed to all, you're welcome to the useless trinkets that these swords will be.
No.
Perhaps they will comfort you in the depths of the Imperial dungeons.
I will give you the comfort of my blade running itself through your sternum. And he will move towards you. Peony Knight makes for Blue Mountain Scholar, and you will see Grave of Saints rushes towards you, Baoshi, even as the others engage with Little Plum as she begins to deal with the troops that are back behind. So let's start with you, Patrick, as this Imperial Lord wuxia comes flying at you.
Well, I obviously can't fight him, but I mean, it's my oath. I can't fight. It's not a I think I'm gonna fail. It's my character won't fight him. But that doesn't mean I can't make him so mad that he just falls into some deep stupidity of his own making. So I think Song Da is using like every bit of his small finesse and control to be just to the side of his blade every time he slashes. So he gets more and more furious with being so close but not being able to land a solid blow on Song Da.
So do you want to read that as an overcome or something else?
Sorry, I was just trying to find my character.
Or is this hearts and minds? What do you think?
It's probably overcome.
Okay.
If I thought we'd set this scene up better, maybe I could have turned this into a social duel, but I don't really have anybody to pressure him on with that.
Let's have you. Well, I mean, tell me. I mean, you could do the sword scene with royal blood, and then you could tell me how an audience is drawn here, how you've prepared things for this.
I do have something I can open up that might provide an audience for you, because I have my trap to spring.
Well, then let's start with that.
Yeah, as a seed of that, I was sort of thinking that after all of this work and investigation she'd done, Cheng Rogong probably wouldn't just leave this whole thing alone.
So let's start with let's do Baoshi. Let's see how that plays into, and we'll either come to Blue Mountain Scholar or Song Da out of that. So Baoshi, let's have you roll House of Traps.
Right. And
what do you want to roll that with?
I'm looking if that be water or metal. I hate to always go to my strong, but this is calculation. This is me setting up something.
Okay.
So it's metal. Rolling. Whew, that's a 6. I'm gonna have to spend a bond.
Which bond do you want to burn to get that to a 7?
I think I'll spend one with song, since I think I am going off this idea of we need witnesses. We need someone to hear if things go poorly.
So who is it that Cheng Rogong that you've sent her to go and get? Like, who has she brought here as kind of a follow-up as witnesses?
It's gotta, or if you're asking Patrick or me,
I'm asking you, Baoshi. You set the trap.
It's absolutely my guard captain boyfriend and Magistrate Delon.
They are shocked as they come down. We'll assume that at least one of the other, let's say that your boyfriend with the butterflies is also there.
Of course.
just because he saw Chen Rogong running and he's kind of followed along and thought maybe that he would get a chance. And now he's in the middle of this and seeing all this and oh my God, and is unsure. So we've got that set up. Suddenly, this for Lord Yao, now suddenly comes his thing. He's got all these witnesses. Now he's got to deal with all these people. But Blue Mountain Scholar, tell me how you are dealing with Peony Knight.
I am an old man.
Okay.
I enjoy the theatrics of being the old man so that I am completely like not what she is expecting. And I drop my blades. They are fabulous blades, legendary blades, well-known blades, but they're held by an old decrepit man. And he sort of holds them up wearily and says, "You really don't want to do this."
You don't get to tell me what to do, old man.
So you want to be the one that has killed Blue Mountain Scholar?
If it gets me what I want, then yes.
Let's see if this gets you what you want.
Let us have you. I'm a real dad. Let us have you roll with your style element.
Okay. Rolling and adding 3. So that's a 10.
That is a 10. So she's on your scale.
Oh, good.
So tell me what that looks like. If you see the is yours, you win the conflict and may mark XP if you show mercy or let them escape. I'm guessing you're not going to. You may declare a shift of the fiction, a change of heart, impress someone, shift an entanglement.
Let's see here. I think, well, I'm definitely not going to let them escape, right?
Okay.
But I don't think I'm going for the kill. I want them to be a lifelong embarrassment in so many ways.
Okay.
Like, essentially something that will stay with. So understand that I appear to be, to every onlooker, an old man who's being chased around by Peony. But she can't hit me. and I just keep going, whoop, kind of tripped there, didn't you? You gotta watch your feet, and I just give her hell.
What is the finishing like humiliation here?
I kind of get behind her and I kick her knees out from under her. It's just one of those, like, I don't even use my blades. I just land a foot right in the back of her knees and she goes down.
Shatter through the verdant sword style, drop her to the ground. Now I'm going to save you for a second, Songda, because you are sort of at the crux of this. Bao Shi, this swordsman is coming at you, blade out, and moving at you. So what do we see?
I think that the scroll cases come out, dropping in from my sleeves as I say, sir, there is really no need for this sort of thing, and I doubt he is stopping. As I, in the end, knowledge will wear out as I kind of step forward and flip the end of my scroll case open and am attempting to attack him with the flutter of this that comes flying out of it.
Absolutely. Let's have you roll with your style element.
All right.
Come on.
That's a 10.
So it is that classic, here's a blind swordsman, skilled, listening, and then suddenly the air is filled with papers and noise and so on. And he's striking and cutting at those. What is it that you do to take him out when suddenly he's occupied with that?
As he's swinging about kind of wildly, I drop down and kind of move into this roll that goes underneath his blades as they're slashing papers to the side, and I come up with my scroll case just underneath his sword arm in the armpit into that nerve bundle there, so that his sword clatters to the side and he sort of, does that lockup of his muscles there as I sort of barrel that through to knock him down. And I think I'll get off it. Sir, knowledge is power.
And now, with all of these witnesses, all these things, you, Songda, confronting this Imperial Lord, higher status, but some of the edge has been taken down by all of these witnesses. Let's have you roll sword stained with royal blood.
So I think what he does to sort of trigger this off is he steps out into the middle of the room, like conveniently just after the two foes have fallen, and puts out his hands to say, friends, stop! Mr. Bell, Blue Mountain Scholar, this violence is unnecessary. Of course, Lord Yao is correct, and as an officially appointed representative of the Imperial Court, he has the right and responsibility to step in, taking over these delicate matters of the house of Master Fan. Please, Lord Yao, read to us the divine words of our holy emperor. Please show us the majesty of his seal.
Let's have you roll.
This is with fire. Sorry, burning his ass. Oh God. Oh Lord. That's a 5. I have some bonds.
How many bonds do you want to spend here?
So I've got one with Blue Mountain Scholar. I had hoped I might had one with Bao Shi, but could I pull on one from Blue Mountain Scholar and Lost Song Shanai?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's
Absolutely.
it's the energy you're taking from those connections.
Yeah, so I am pulling on that, the like quiet confidence and stolid presence of Blue Mountain Scholar, and the quick way that Lost Song Janai's words always seem to like tumble me off of the path I was on and onto a new one. That's what I'm bringing forward into this.
Right. I will
Honest.
assist by stepping forward to witness that writ.
So
What's his scale?
you haven't looked yet. And here's the thing. You've given me a 7 denied, which means he can continue forward with a physical duel if he accepts essentially losing face and losing influence here.
Oh, fuck.
Can we get it to them? What do we need to do?
How many bonds do you have with Song Da, Sherry?
I have none with Song Da, but one with Bao Shi.
Well, that won't help.
No.
So
I have
Shi.
one.
So I think that there is that moment where you're like, yes. And then he lunges forward as he promised. And like everybody gasps because you're a historian, and he runs you through. Please roll.
Excuse me, can I do Legend of the Mountain?
Yes, you may.
Thank
because you
you.
have that ability.
Yes, I
And
do.
That one
you
too?
see it coming.
Yeah.
And you've seen enough Wulin things that you see that blade and you picture it piercing your sternum.
Yeah.
You know what's about to happen, Song Da.
Oh.
And I am going to roll Legend of the Mountain with my fighting styles. This is a +3. So it gives me 7. Oh, yay. So what does that do for us?
So I will tell you what, Blue Mountain Scholar, you get in the way and you knock that aside. What is it that you do, though, that reveals your secret identity to Song Da?
I think I have to turn around and whip around, and there's that thing where, you know, where's the cloak and all of that stuff, and then the sort of mask that's just, it only works because there's shadow, but it actually kind of comes off, and you can see like Shania's face underneath the mask before it kind of goes back. Yeah.
Nice.
And so she's kind of standing there. She's managed to defend you. She knows she's revealed herself.
And
You see
so
the eyes.
ooh, since he did not submit, I am going to hit him with some game of court.
Oh, yeah.
As there is an audible gasp from everyone else in the room, even some of the fighters on his side, as he goes to attack one of the members of the Bureau of Legends. So I'm going to give him a reputation for breaking the sacred seal of the Bureau, and I'm going to take control of a key location. This one right here.
And I think as all the fighter kind of, you know, raise themselves up and the troops kind of step back, I think there is that moment where he looks at you and he says, "This is not over. I know your lineage." And he leaps up, lightfoots to the top of the stairs, knocks people aside, and rushes back up.
Songda has that look in his eyes like he is about to come back with a snappy comeback, and it's almost out of his mouth when he's, "My what?"
You're not my real dad. And Chengro Gong and the others will come down to where you're at to check to make sure that you're okay. I assume, Blue Mountain Scholar, you've gotten your mask.
Oh yeah,
back.
absolutely. I'm like, can I do this? To Sakta.
And you and Chengro Gong will fit the last piece into that sword, and you will put it into the lock, and we can hear the mechanisms turning, the grinding of stones and so on.
Fancy.
And we'll see it open, and we can see the puzzle sword gets kind of drawn into the mechanism itself, and then the doors open, and
Oh, Lynn, I'm so excited.
we'll see this room, torches illuminated, and you will see that there is a scroll on the wall, and you can see declarations, and you can see signatures, and you know what this is. This is what people in a conspiracy do to bind everyone together. They all state their declarations and they sign, and you see the names there. And you will see other papers then down below. You will see notes and so on. But the thing that will strike you is that you will see in the center of the room on a dais, there is an Imperial Seal, the Imperial Seal, as far as you can tell. And there is a sword, you know, a lost blade of the Imperial House one that has gone missing for at least 2 generations, when the present emperor's grandfather, his brother, passed mysteriously. And the sword was lost with him. And his younger brother took over the Imperial line. And you can see the pieces here. Physical proof. Physical proof of the Verdant Sword Alliance, including Master Fawn and others, in their conspiracy to kill Fei Dayan, in their conspiracy to do that, to cut off an Imperial line. And then the proof that Master Fawn kept this daughter hidden. And that is what you will see. And I think there will be this bit where Magistrate Delon is like, what does this mean?
Trouble, a great deal of trouble. And I'll be looking over at Blue Mountain, looking at Lost Song and giving the "we've got our foot in it here" sort of look.
Yeah, and I do think that we get the thing of the puzzle sword. Can we draw that and reblock this? I assume that
Yes.
things have been added at a later time, right?
Yeah.
And essentially, we have the witnesses right here, and we have the various children of the different groups of the different people that were involved. I think each of them get a puzzle sword. Does that make any sense? And essentially, we do another swear that we'll lock this out, and we're going to have to deal with Yang. I mean, that becomes clearly the thing, but we will work that through. I am going to say one thing. I think that Cheng Rogang is actually Master Fawn's daughter. One of the traits.
Oh, nice.
If that makes any sense.
So the kind of little bit of epilogue scene that we're going to see here is Cheng Rogang, brought out with the notes and papers, and her dressed in the Verdant Sword Alliance colors, and perhaps even our fine butterfly-bearing friend now in a slightly nicer dress, clearly raised up. And does that seem right for your kind of fit?
Yep.
This isn't the epilogue for our characters, because we're going to come back to them, but it's the epilogue for this little mystery. What do we see for your sort of last scene epilogue? Who are we talking to? What happens in your scene there, Songda?
I think what we see is the door to Songda's overly fancy suite opening up as Sister Lushan steps in, and we see one of those sort of shadowy messenger birds just flapping off behind her, and she steps in. There's no Songda there, but there is a note neatly folded and with the seal of the bureau on it on the table, and as she cracks it and opens it, it says, the mission of the Bureau has been compromised, and there are lies that need to be corrected and family histories that need to be rewritten. I've taken the lessons that you've taught me. And I think that with time, my new apprentice and I can set things right. And as the camera like pulls out of that room and into the hallway, we see a shot into the like completely empty room of crap names. No, there's too many
Xiao.
names. Yeah, Xiaochun.
Xiaochun.
Because her room, of course, was like right there next to mine.
We'll have to get you we'll have to come up with a sidekick move.
I get a sub sidekick.
Yes. Baoshi, what do we see for you?
Oh, I'm torn. I've harped on poor Lost Song enough about showing her true self. I won't do that again. I think instead we see me in my in the rooms, and then it was quite dramatic. That young Song Da really stood up and it was tremendous all around. I tell you, I don't understand at all what you've been doing. You were terribly missed. B would have been ever so proud of Song Da, and I'm sure that he would have loved to have seen you there. And I turn back around and we see Iron Lotus standing off to the side as I come over and hand with a tray and a glass, and hand a glass to him and to them and say, I did save you some sweets though.
Nice. I think we do see sort of in the background of at least one of these epilogues, we will see Sun Yang and Cricket, just to confirm that your work has paid off, Baoshi. And that's our mystery. That is our four episodes of that. There's a mystery. I am sorry that we didn't have Ray here, but it's certainly understandable. I would like to do a quick, like, what you dug, kind of like end thoughts here, if you don't mind. Is that okay with everybody? Are we okay to roll into it, or do we need a break before we do that?
Sure.
Okay.
Let's go.
Sherry.
It was fun. I actually really liked the new structure on the mystery. It gave us a sort of organizational thing, and like when we were talking about like where something fit, it was useful to go, what is the scope that this lies in? And then the story seemed to kind of come a little bit more organically out of it. So for me, the structure did help a lot. I think, yeah, I liked that a lot. Again, it was a good game. It was fun getting all the new information and fitting it together. And you guys are all really fun. Your characters are lovely. So it was good to see a little bit of that and a lot of mystery solving. And I do think that, yeah, the clues worked really well. So, I don't know. It's good.
Awesome. Are you okay with the revelation to Song Da there at the end as the cost?
Oh yeah, that was no problem at all. Because Baoshi knew, and yeah, so well, that is perfect. Yeah.
Awesome. And it gives us a chance to, the next time we play with these characters, we'll take a look at entanglements and we'll figure out where people are from that point forward. Tyler?
I'm going to echo. I really like the structure of this so much more for solving a mystery. It really, it has something to hang it on that really helped, at least in my mind, to give it form and structure and put it together, and just it was really nice. I liked it. I liked the mystery of what we had here. I thought the swords were fantastic. It was lovely to get to a spot on there. I thought our collaborative coming up with the solution was really dramatic and fun. I liked all of our cast of characters that we dealt with, Lowell. They were fantastic, and it was neat to see, you know, now we played quite a few of these kind of mysteries with our crew, and to see those recurring ones has been wonderful. Undaunted Josiah is phenomenal. It was just a ton of fun, and I thought everybody was really solid. I mean, Patrick, you were dramatic as hell. It was great to see you get into a social fight.
That was good.
I'm glad that got to happen. And I thought it was neat to see us kind of do cascade of moves. Sherry coming in with the save on Patrick was great. The setup to have the trap get somebody there for the social set. Patrick being able to add the extra on after him throwing off and coming and attack. All of that really ended up organically working together nicely. So that was a ton of fun. I thought we did a good job. Yay us.
I thought everybody's characters were great. Like I've enjoyed the evolution of all the characters. I've enjoyed the interaction. I love playing the NPCs against you. So that has been really fun. I also like the facet like list structure, because I find when I'm running, my brain is always like, okay, how are they going to put this all together? Like I'm like worried about that, and I'm thinking about it, and I'm like uncertain about it when it's so nebulous. This helped take some of that pressure off for me, and it was fun to watch. I've now had the chance to do this twice, once with the Apocalypse Keys and once with this. I like the way it kind of, okay, when I would get this, okay, that fits in, and we can kind of talk about what each little piece means, rather than trying to let's get all this and scramble and throw everything together. So I was really, really happy with that. So that's my stars and wishes. Patrick?
This adventure this mystery was really interesting, especially as we got down into the depths of it in this session. It was, it's the seeds come from you, Lowell, but the sort of like building of it really, I think, went across the table. This idea of like the mixed up family lines and all the different wrong children or hidden children, that ended up being a really great focus point for our conspiracy. And as a difference to Brindlewood and how you sort of like tossed out the separation of the conspiracy mystery from the other mysteries, Brindlewood has this very like, you're doing normal prosaic everyday murder stuff and picking up these little bits along the way, and then you have like one big solid end cap that is just all conspiracy. Whereas and you're generally like done with things after that in Brindlewood, because like the conspiracy's gone, you fixed it. Whereas this very much felt like a very satisfying season ending revelation of a level of the conspiracy, but there's so many more implications and loose threads left from the conspiracy that like I could see another mystery where we bring in whole new layers of it. It sort of gives us the freedom to say, this feels like a monster of the week, murder of the week sort of mystery. Let's keep it all very like light and deal with this. Or it lets us say like, I want to keep bringing in more and more of the crunchy conspiracy stuff. I want to twist this whole murder to be about this, even if it didn't start out that way.
Yeah, because the Imperial thing was kind of a throwaway, wasn't it? I mean, like I just tossed that in there.
Somebody put that in there in session 2, and that kind of changed the direction and complexion of things in a really neat way.
Yeah, and this is the most involved I've been in a Theorize. I feel like some of that was definitely due to the aspects, the questions about the mystery and linking things up to that, and understanding that more. I could definitely see playing through it again, being more willing to reach out and start shifting those questions to the mystery. So I was really hesitant to do that, just because I didn't understand how it was going to work.
Yeah, and I think that's perfectly fair. I was very pleased that we were able to get some nice kind of pay off for some of the like sinister implications earlier about the Bureau and that I was very happy with how that played out.
I really liked not only that you we brought in the Bureau stuff like that, but that we then ended up managing to work it into the solution.
Mhm.
I was like, oh, is this going to be the throwaway clue? Is this going to be the one that's a red herring and doesn't match up? But it all fit in well. I'll also say, Lowell, you don't really go to the specifically cinematic references. Like, you don't do what's our TV show doing sort of
Right.
references. But I really felt the heavy tropiness in this one. And I don't know why it struck me so much, but I nearly died when we opened up the decades-long locked secret tomb and there are already lit torches inside. It was
Such a trope.
beautiful moment. It was so dumb.
I noticed that
and so
too. I was like,
perfect.
no, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
That's genre appropriate.
Tyler, I love Bao Shi. I love getting to see him in action, and that moment of the paper swarm versus the blind swordsman was so iconically perfect. And I like, seeing Bao Shi do an investigation a bit more solo. We see him very much in that duo dynamic, and he was very much off like powerhousing the detectiving by himself, which was fun. Sherry, I'm glad that we finally broke through the wall of like I could never remember or push hard enough to get that storyline of your secret identity going. So thank you, Lowell, for pushing the matter at the end, because I do feel like that opens up to a different story to tell next time.
Yeah,
And
that is a real season ender kind of thing too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I'll echo what someone, I forget who, said about that moment of defense. Like Sherry, that was a perfect time to pull out a move that's very like appropriate for Blue Mountain Scholar and fits in with that like Song dies, the fighting weakling of the group needs protection. Like, I love that moment. And Lowell, it was I want to say a really well designed defense move, because it didn't take away from the cool parts that my move gave me.
Mhm.
It still let me do that like game of court consequences back to him. It
Mhm.
didn't. So many defense moves undo what just happened.
Yeah.
And that this one just shifted some of the consequences to the left and still left me with the cool parts of what I'd gone into it with.
Awesome. I had a great time writing this. Thank you all so much for willing to put your December into this, and we will come back to these characters again. I really love them, and I like this setup, so I am looking forward to it. I am going to stop the recording. I'm going to stop the